Yes.
Excellent. All right. Welcome, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the world. And thank you for joining us tonight for the Year Award presentation. IWIRC honors a woman for her contributions to the insolvency and restructuring industry with the Woman of the Year and Restructuring Award each year. Warrior for short. I love that name, Warrior. This year, the award goes to an exceptional restructuring lawyer, the epitome of the Warrior Award, but also an exceptional professional who has supported other women in their career growth and has dedicated her time to developing young women into strong and confident leaders. She is IWIRC's ideal warrior. This winner is Debra Grassgreen, and she is a senior partner at Pachowski, Stein, Zeal & Jones in San Francisco, California, where she heads the firm's international insolvency practice. Debra has significant experience representing debtors and trustees, creditors committees in large and complex insolvency cases nationwide and internationally. Most recently, she has been at the forefront of this contentious and emotionally charged and complex Chapter 11 for the Weinstein Company in the capacity as creditors committee counsel, a creditors committee that also included many sexual abuse victims. The issues in that case were one of watershed events of the Me Too movement that has changed the way women are treated in the workplace. A plan that provided a significant recovery to abuse victims was confirmed in that case in January of 2021. And although I wasn't there, I've heard that Debra's oral argument in support of confirmation was not only persuasive, but heartfelt, according to every report. Debra was a founding member of IWIRC's Northern California network. She's participated as one of IWIRC's delegates to UNCITRAL for over 10 years, assisting in drafting various interventions by IWIRC at UNCITRAL meetings. Her exposure at UNCITRAL and III has helped to raise the profile of IWIRC. She's also presently serving as III's president, and I understand her to be the first woman to serve in that role. And she's been widely regarded as a leading expert in the United States and cross-border on restructuring matters for over 25 years. A consistent mentor to young women, both in the restructuring industry and generally, and a leader in her community. In addition to her busy law practice and leadership roles in her firm and in professional organizations, Debra also serves as a mentor to a young Cambodian woman through She Can, an organization with a mission of empowering young women from third world countries through education and development of leadership skills. She recently told me about her experience traveling and setting up her mentees' college dorm for her college experience at a US college, encouraging me to consider mentorship the same through the same organization in which Deb has worked through with her mentee for approximately 5 years. And I understand she's ready to graduate from college soon on a college senior scholarship. So amazing accomplishments. Deb was also the founding member of Pre-Funds, an organization that she founded in 2005 to stop family flight out of San Francisco. I recalled in the days when she told me about her efforts with that program and the schools that they were able to save. And I asked her about that as well. And I understand that she's left a significant impact on that organization and their board. One of her nominators said, Debra has an unusual combination of intelligence, legal skill, pragmatism, organizational ability, and an ability to connect with people from diverse backgrounds that make her the consummate international insolvency lawyer and leader of the global insolvency bar. Another one of her nominators said, she is unmatched in her abilities to maintain control over the many facets of a complicated case in an ultra-organized fashion, to work collegially with even the most difficult parties and maintain a work-life balance while doing so, volunteering her services to important causes in a meaningful way, and sustaining a positive perspective. She's a cheerleader of women and a role model for all professionals in the restructuring, insolvency, and bankruptcy field. She's a true inspiration for me and for all the women of IWIRC. And I'm privileged today to virtually present the IWIRC Warrior Award to my friend Deb Grassgreen. Deb, Congratulations for your hard work and achievement. And on behalf of IWIRC, thank you for continuing to drive our core values and continuing our mission around the world.
Thank you, Leyza, and thank you, IWIRC. I'm holding up the award so everybody can see it. It came in advance since we didn't get to do this in person, but I'm incredibly honored to receive this recognition, which would be an honor from any organization, but it's even more meaningful because it's from IWIRC, an organization that's been very important to me in my career development, as you just heard Leyza say. I have a few thank yous to give, but before I get to those, IWIRC asked me to speak for a few minutes about a topic I got to choose. And it's difficult to get an award like this and not be reflective. So I thought I would take a few minutes to talk about change, the change over the last 30 years of my law practice, and the importance of making change, embracing change, and celebrating change. As I was reflecting on the last 30 years of my practice, I realized that it's been bookended with really dramatic and important changes, particularly for women. In 1991, when I started practicing in the Miami office of a New York law firm, women were not allowed to wear pantsuits, only skirts. We didn't have computers. iPad had not been invented. We had no cell phones, no email, no text, and we didn't do legal research over the internet. We went to a library. When we needed to work on a document, there was a group of women, and I'm not kidding you, it was women, not men, in a word processing department that typed up our pleadings and our correspondence overnight, and then left them on our desks in the morning, folded with our edits so that we could check the changes and put them back into word processing. And that was how it was. And that seems like ages ago, but it really was only 30 years ago. At that time, there was not a single woman bankruptcy judge on the bench in the Southern District of Florida where I practiced. And that was not unique to Florida. Nationwide, then, women represented only 14% of bankruptcy judges. Fast forward 30 years. We've come a long way. We still have a ways to go. But in light of the pandemic that sent us all home, we wouldn't be able to operate if we still had those women typing in the back room. We now only practice in front of our computers, right? Look, here we are now. And we would be completely paralyzed without email, text messages, WhatsApp. And in the world of Zoom meetings and hearings, the rules about only wearing skirts are out the window. And there's certainly no restriction on women wearing pantsuits. As we know, business attire is required now on Zoom. It's sometimes just from the waist up. The rooms of the women typing are long gone. And I'm proud to say on that note that in our office in San Francisco, we don't have a single female legal assistant. All of our legal assistants in San Francisco are men. In fact, when my son Jude was about 5 years old, he used to love to come to the office, and he came to our office one day, and on the way home, he said to me, "Mom, can boys be lawyers too?" And that warmed my heart. On International Women's Day, we celebrated the fact that every major insolvency organization worldwide is currently chaired by, or was chaired last year by, a woman. I can't even begin to comment on how significant that is. We, of course, have Leyza as the chair of IWIRC, but we've never had a male chair of IWIRC. But Judge Hauser as president of ABI, also something that Melissa Kibler held before. Julie Hertzberg, president of INSOL, Pia Mukherjee, INSOL Europe, Judge Isikoff, past president of NCBJ, Melissa Kibler as president of the American College of Bankruptcy, and I hold the title of president of the International Insolvency Institute. This is a major achievement and something that we all can celebrate and embrace, no doubt. And while the gender, I did some research. I was talking to Judge Isikoff and Judge Bailey and trying to get some statistics. And the gender gap for bankruptcy judges has improved since the 90s. As of 2020, 37% of our bankruptcy judges were women. But the bankruptcy bench still remains one of the least diverse benches nationwide. So there's still quite a lot of work to be done. And unfortunately, for women in private practice, the outlook is actually much more troubling. According to a 2020 report from the ABA Commission, Why Women Leave, they said the following: big law is no stranger to the loss of experienced women attorneys. While entering associate classes have been comprised of approximately 45% women for several decades, in the typical large firm, women constitute only 30% of non-equity partners and 20% of equity partners. Women lawyers face many other challenging hurdles as they seek to advance into senior roles. The number of lawyers named as new equity partners at big firms has declined by nearly 30% over the past several years, and firms are increasingly relying on the hiring of lateral partners, over 70% of whom are men. Notwithstanding these headwinds in private practice, I have been lucky. I've spent 25 years at Pachulski, Stang, Zealand Jones, gone through a few name changes along the way, where I've been completely supported by my partners who are like a family to me. I have not faced the hurdles many women at large firms do, which I think is one of the benefits of working in a boutique law firm. In fact, a couple of years ago, I was in a meeting and I pointed out to one of my partners that I was the only woman in the room of about a dozen men, which is not an uncommon occurrence. And one of them immediately remarked back, "I didn't even notice. We forgot you were a guy." So I'm really thankful that I've been able to practice at such a great firm. And I thank all of my colleagues at the Pachulski family for their support over the years. And I'm even luckier to have the support of my real family. My husband and my son, who I know are in our kitchen listening downstairs, who have provided unconditional support and put up with my long hours and trips away. But the statistics that I cited above reflect that others haven't been as lucky as I have. And that's why we all have to do our part, little by little, every day, to increase diversity in our practice. I've made it a priority to mentor and support women in the profession, and as you just heard, outside of it, and to provide opportunities for them to grow and shine wherever possible. And I'm committed to continue to do that, and I hope all of you are as well. Because diversity is more than just a buzzword, and having diversity in our profession is not just about checking a box to make sure that we're meeting some requirement. The unique perspectives of women and of others from different backgrounds bring a different sense of problem solving, and the collaboration that it brings cannot be underestimated. Two people from completely different backgrounds would undoubtedly attack a problem completely differently. They would see an issue differently, and they might offer a different solution. And significantly, the presence of women in leadership positions is one of the key ways to change the culture that gave rise to the Me Too movement. As Leyza mentioned, I worked in the last couple of years with the survivors of Harvey Weinstein's abuse. And that has been a gratifying and eye-opening experience. And it really drove home for me the fact that even small acts can affect big change. Of all the change that I've seen in my career, technology and everything else, there's no question that the change that has rapidly occurred, and it was pretty quick because of those brave survivors speaking their truth, is the most significant. It's because of those women and some pretty phenomenal men standing with them, because they spoke up, that we all will hopefully see a time when nobody ever has to say "me too" again. So thank you, IWIRC, for providing a forum to help women succeed and make change, and for being a critical support system for me personally and for so many others. What struck me also on our leadership panel for International Women's Day was that a common thread that ran through all the women that spoke that day was that we all had positive role models in our mothers. Many of us were raised by single mothers, and all of us spoke about how our mothers pushed us to be responsible and persistent. So to my mom, who hopefully you made it on, Mom, and all the others that have pushed your daughters and sons to do more every day because they knew they could, thank you for all you've done and for all you continue to do. The changes that I've seen over the course of my career didn't happen all at once. There have been a series of little tiny incremental changes that have built one another over time. Changes in the way we practice, technological changes, changes in work-life balance being acceptable. But I think the most positive impact recently of the change from working from home has been to bring authenticity and humanity to our relationships with our clients, co-counsel, adversaries, and judges. It takes an edge off of the tense meeting when we see somebody's small child or a pet pop into the screen. And it shows that as lawyers, we're human, and we can balance humanity and still be professional and still do our job. So that's a change that I personally have fully embraced, and I really hope continues as we get past the pandemic. So I think we need to just continue to push for positive changes like this as we move out of the pandemic, one small step at a time, and as we go into the next phase of whatever comes. For those of you that know me well, and you heard a little bit about this, you know that I'm just a little bit obsessive about having things organized and in order, or even better yet, color-coded, labeled, on a list. Makes me feel better when everything's in its place. So it won't surprise you that one of my favorite quotes and speeches about change is from Rear Admiral William McRaven, who, among his many accomplishments, led the Navy SEAL team that captured Osama bin Laden. I'm a big fan of his, and I commend to all of you any of his to read about him. An unbelievable guy. But I want to conclude with some remarks that he delivered at a terrific commencement address he gave at the University of Texas in 2014. He said, "If you want to change the world, start off by making your bed. If you make your bed every morning, you'll have accomplished the first task of the day. It will give you a small sense of pride, and it will encourage you to do another task, and another, and another. And by the end of the day, that one task completed will have turned into many tasks completed. Making your bed will also reinforce the fact that the little things in life matter. If you can't do the little things right, you'll never be able to do the big things right. And if by chance you have a miserable day, you'll come home to a bed that's made, that you made. And a made bed gives you encouragement that tomorrow will be better." Thank you for this incredible honor and for helping me do one task after another to eventually end up here accepting this honor. Thanks.
Deb, thank you so much for that and for those kind words and for everything you do and continue to do. We're very, very appreciative of all that you have done and continue to do for IWIRC.